Hello everyone, I am Prerna Garg, Assistant Professor, Jaipuria Institute of Management, Indrapuram, Ghaziabad. And today we shall be discussing the second lecture of marketing management, that is based on the needs, wants, demand and the different concepts that are basically associated with marketing. So, as MBA graduates, we have to understand that there are different terms that are being very frequently used in marketing management, and we must understand the hairline differences between these terms. So, in this lecture, we will be talking about the most commonly used concepts in marketing, and we will be understanding one of the important concepts that is usually used in marketing, that is the value delivery system. And it is very imperative for any marketing graduate to understand what value is. So, let us start the lecture by understanding some of the core marketing concepts, that is those terms that are very frequently used in marketing, and as a new student to the MBA program, we must be very clear with these concepts, since these concepts will help us to build the entire base of this subject as marketing and help us decide the electives in the next year. So, the first core marketing concept talks about the needs. Now, it is very important, and let us take these three words together. Needs, wants and demand, these three words are very commonly used in marketing, and students usually confuse that people feel that they are all the same, and we can anyways refer to anything as need, as anything as want and demand, but it is not so. There are differences between these three terms. Let us understand it in a very simple fashion. Now, first let us see the basic definition. When I say need, the basic human requirements such as food, requirement for air, food, shelter, clothing, anything, that means the very basic or innate requirement that is there for my survival, need. Now, when I say want, it is slightly different because they are saying specific objects that might satisfy the need. So, when I was having any of these needs, and if I say I am specifically looking out for a certain objective that can help me satisfy my need, it becomes a want. Taking it further, wants for specific products backed by my ability to pay becomes my demand. Important. Marketers are saying we may be very clear with what we need, we may be even clear with the specific object that can satisfy that need, but until and unless we are having the ability to buy this want, buy this specific object that I was looking forward to, it won't be called demand. So, for something to be called demand, it is important that my want, that is the specific object or solution that I am looking forward to, must be backed by my ability to buy it. So, if it is not being, if I as a person, I as a customer cannot buy it, it would not become my demand. Marketers, when you will be referring to economics or basic economics that you all must have went through, we have always seen that it deals into demand, the identification of demand in the market. That means marketers are focusing on customers who are having the willingness to buy it and who are also having the ability to buy it. If these two will not suffice, then the demand would not be ascertained. For somebody who is just saying that yes, I need a car, I need a Mercedes Benz, but then I do not have the ability to buy it, then it won't be converting into a demand, and there is no point of marketer to take that customer into account. That is not even my prospect, because he or she is missing out on the most important parameter, that is the ability to purchase it. Let us understand it with an even simpler example. They are saying there is a US consumer who needs food. Any consumer, me, you, anybody who is looking out for food. So, when I say I am hungry, I want something to eat, I am just having a need that is unfulfilled. Now, when I say I would look forward to a Chicago style deep dish pizza and a craft beer to satisfy that hunger, that means I am specific that I only need the peri peri pizza by Domino's and Happy Fizz, then that becomes want, because I have specified the object that were actually able to suffice my need or fulfill my need. So, I mentioned those objects, but demand would be when I have the ability to buy that peri peri pizza of Domino's and an Happy Fizz. So, marketers will only count upon me, or the marketers of Domino's would only take into account those customers in order to ascertain the demand of their product in the market, who are also having the ability to purchase it. So, many people want Mercedes, but only a few can buy one. So, for marketers it is important to identify those who can buy this. I hope this concept is clear to all of you. We have now understood the difference between needs, wants and demands. Let us move further and understand another three very important concepts used in marketing. Now, this is commonly, these three words are also commonly called as the STP strategy. Most of the students miss out on this abbreviated form. The acronym is STP. Now, what is this STP? Segmentation, targeting and positioning, and this is what it is written here. Let us understand another very important area. Segmentation means, let us understand it in the way of there is a homogeneous market available to us. So, marketers are trying to identify different subunits, or the market is completely heterogeneous in nature. Marketers are trying to identify different segments in such a fashion that the units of one segment are homogeneous in nature. It is like we are having a blend of n number of people in the market available, and I am trying to identify, okay, all males come this side, all females come this side, all then I say all people of income group between 2 lakh to 5 lakh, one cluster, 5 lakh to 10 lakh, one cluster, and so on. So, when I am trying to divide the heterogeneous market into homogeneous subunits in such a fashion that the members of one unit are sharing similar characteristic, this is the segmentation, the second one. This is the segmentation. Now, why marketers are doing this? Because it is very difficult to capture one segment from a population which is so heterogeneous. So, what they do is they segment into different zones, and it becomes easier for them to capture them and design different strategies for them. Now, when I say marketers can always focus on one segment, too many segments, what I am talking about is the second word, that is targeting. So, targeting means marketers identify distinct segments of buyers by identifying the different demographic, psychographic and behavioral differences between them. So, when the marketer have clustered them into different groups on the basis of different segmentation strategies, now they would be clear whether I want to focus on only one segment, too many segments, or whatever. That is targeting. The last is positioning. A marketer may have different positioning strategies for different segments. Now, what positioning means? Positioning in very simple words is creating a unique position, creating a unique or distinct image of your brand in the mind of the target consumers. So, marketers are trying that for each target market that they have segmented, they must be able to position their brands in their mind. So, when I say Dove, I can easily recall that milky soap. When I say Pears, I can always recall that glycerin combination. When I say Lux, I can always remember those rose petals. This is how marketers have created a unique image in the mind of the consumer. That was positioning. So, what marketers are doing is they are segmenting the markets, then they are targeting any of the segment that they want to, and then they are creating a distinct image. Another core marketing concepts are marketing channels, value and satisfaction. Let us understand marketing channel, a very simple concept which is saying, in order to communicate your brand to the customers, whether it is tangible or intangible, that is whether it is a good or a service, it is important to use certain kind of a communication channel through which the information can be delivered. Now, again there are three types of channels. There could be a communication channel, that means there could be print media or electronic media through which you are advertising your brand. There are distribution channels. Distribution channel means there are physical systems that are taking your product or service from the point of production to the point of consumption. So, whether it is a wholesaler, retailer, distributor, any entity involved, distribution channels. And third is the service channels, which is working at the back end. The customers are usually not able to see them. So, service channels, any payment facility, banks options that are accepting the payments, transportations, warehouses, inventory systems, all these partners are talking about these service channels. So, marketing channels involved again three entities, somebody who is actually informing you through the use of media, the entities who are actually bringing your product from one step to another, from the point of production to consumption, and all the back end processes that are engaged in that complete process, these three marketing channels. Now, let us talk about value and satisfaction. Value is a central marketing concept and is primarily a combination of quality, service and price. This is a triad. This is a customer value triad. When I say triad, that means these three ends, and these three ends involve service, price and quality. There is service, price and quality. So, they are saying that this value is a very, very important concept to be understand, and value perceptions increase with quality and service. So, for me as a consumer, I would feel one product or service to be more valuable if the quality and the services are very, very good, but it would usually decrease with price, and we all understand that. This was value. That means for any product or service to be valuable, marketers should work on these two. Now, when I say satisfaction, how I as a consumer will measure my satisfaction? If I was having certain expectations from a product or service, and when I have purchased that, I am now perceiving what I have got. If there is a discrepancy between these two, my satisfaction can be measured. So, if my expectations were higher than what I have received, my satisfaction is low. If my expectations were very less, but I have received something very good, my satisfaction level is really high. So, this was the value and satisfaction as core marketing concepts. Now, another important concept through which you all will be taken through the MBA journey, that is the marketing mix. This is one of the most common question that is being asked to any MBA graduate, irrespective of your specialization. What is the marketing mix? Now, marketing mix is a term. It's a set of marketing tools or tactics which is used to promote a product or service in the market and sell it. Every marketer is actually working on this marketing mix, or what we commonly call as 4 P's of marketing. Now, these 4 P's of marketing have been identified by McCarthy, and these 4 P's are the product, the price, the place and the promotion. Let's have a view on this image. Marketing mix includes these 4 P's: product, price, promotion and place. Product is what all your product is about. That means the quality, the design, the packaging, the quantity, the variance, whatever you have done with the product which is to be actually offered, the benefit that is being offered to the customer, product. When I say price, how have you priced this product? Be it tangible or intangible, either it is a good or a service. How have you priced it? Is it too expensive? Is it way too cheap? Is it on a moderate pricing? Are you giving discounts, seasonal discounts, every time discounts? How are you pricing it? The third is, in order to propagate your brand in the market, how are you promoting it? Are you giving certain discounts, offers, buy one get one offers? Are you actually working on huge advertising? Are you working on personal selling or door-to-door selling of that product? How are you managing with the public relations and publicity of that brand in the market? So, the third component is about the promotions, and the last component talks about the place, that is the distribution channels through which the product or service will be available to the customer. So, you as an entity, as a marketer, have to understand the importance of this. Not every product can be made available very richly or very extensively anywhere and everywhere. So, depending upon the nature of the product and service, marketers have to understand through what channel that product should be made available to the customer, so that they can place the order or they can buy it whenever they require. So, in totality, these 4 P's, that is the product, place, price and promotion, forms the marketing mix or the 4 P's of marketing, and we should remember it throughout. Now comes the second important part of this lecture, that is the value delivery process. In economies with many different types of people, each with individual wants, perceptions, preferences and buying criteria, the smart competitor must design and deliver offerings for a well-defined target market. To simplify this, I must say, instead of emphasizing on making and selling, companies are actually now seeing themselves as a part of a value delivery process. That means they have understood the concept that yes, it's important to produce something, to sell something, but then they are understanding that it is not a very simple process. It is an entire process of value delivery. That means the marketer is trying to deliver value to the customers, so that the customer can actually so that the customer can actually realize that yes, something that has been offered to them is of real worth. How are marketers ensuring this value delivery process? The value creation and delivery sequence actually consists of 3 phases. The marketers are focusing on 3 areas, key areas. First is choosing the value. That means doing the homework. Marketers must do before any product exists. That means before they are actually producing a product, before the product actually comes to life, they must understand the market. They must segment the market. They must use the STP, segmentation, targeting and positioning. So, when the marketers are doing this STP before the product is produced, they are engaged in the first area of value delivering, that is choosing the value. Now, when I say the second phase, it is about providing the value. Once the marketers are through with the STP, segmentation, targeting and positioning, they are trying to offer this value to the customer. So, they must identify the product features, the prices and the distribution. The product is now ready, the goods or services are now ready, they need to be offered to the customer. So, the second phase deals about delivering the value, providing the value to the customer. Third phase of the value delivery process says the task involved in this is the communicating the value. Once this product is ready with the marketer, they need the right use of certain media to communicate that yes, we are here. Until and unless they do so, the customer will not come to know about them. Therefore, the third phase of value delivery process says you need to communicate that value to the customer. You can use print media, you can use electronic media, you can use any form of advertising, you can use public relations and anything through which the consumer can know about you. The value delivery process begins before there is a product and continues through development and after launch. So, it is essentially talking about three phases and it is beginning before the product is actually alive. That means it begins before there is a product and it ends when the product has been developed, it has been launched and the message is being communicated, and every phase has different cost implications associated with it. Taking it further, the value chain. Howard's Michael Porter has actually identified a very new concept to marketing that is be very valuable, and we and you guys MBA graduates will be actually referring to this one area in different subjects also. The value chain given by Porter has proposed value chain as a tool for identifying ways to create more customer value. Now, what has Michael Porter done? They have identified a value chain. That means they have simplified it. They have given a pictorial representation, or they have identified certain activities which, if a marketer follows them religiously, they can ensure the delivery of a better value to the customer. So, what Michael Porter have identified is that every firm is a synthesis of activities. Every firm is having different set of activities performed to design, produce, market, deliver and support. Therefore, if one can simplify those activities into different sets and we can see it as one combined structure, it would be really helpful for organization to implement it accordingly, and this is what has been proposed by Michael Porter. So, Michael Porter have identified 9 strategically relevant activities, 5 primary and 4 support functions. So, he focuses on the fact that if any organization is focusing on these 9 strategically relevant activities, the propensity and the probability of delivering value to the customer would definitely be higher. Although ifs and buts are always there can be challenges, but yes, there is a structure. If it is followed, the possibilities of having failure would reduce and the value delivery framework will definitely improve. The value chain involves these 9 activities. Let's have a view on what these 9 activities are actually. So, these are the 5 primary activities that are included in the value chain proposed by Michael Porter, and here are the 4 support activities. Now, what are they talking about? The primary activities involve first inbound logistics. Inbound logistics means it is about bringing material into the business. So, before the product is actually made, whatever comes into the business is inbound logistics. All the material that is required to produce a product that is coming into the business is inbound logistics. So, any marketer should ensure that inbound logistics is a very important area to be taken care of. From where you are procuring the raw material becomes really important. Second activity to be taken care is the operations. That means now converting this material that you have just procured in the first step into the final product. This entire operation process needs to be well taken care of. The second portion. The third says once the product is now ready at the second activity, you have to ensure that the outbound logistics are also very well done. The outbound logistic is the shipping out of the final products. So, where here in inbound the raw material was coming into the business, In outbound, the finished product is going out of the business. So, the marketer has to take care of the warehousing, the inventory management, the quantity management and the delivery of the final product out of the business. The fourth activity is marketing, which includes sales. Now, once the product is ready, the marketer have to ensure that they have to promote their product, they have to persuade their customers, they have to bring their product or the goods or services into light so that the customers are aware about it. So, the fourth activity is about sales. That means you have to persuade the customers to buy your offering. The fifth activity, primary activity, is the service. Now, when I say services, it essentially talks about the services that are being offered during the process of value delivery as well as post the product have been delivered. So, marketer have to understand that services are very integral part and they cannot ignore it. So, when I talk about those 4 P's the marketer have designed about the product, place, price, promotion, every product has certain benefits associated with it and the customer may or may not identify all of them. Whether the product is tangible in nature or intangible in nature, a customer can always have certain problems. So, the process or task of delivering value does not end at passing or transferring the ownership to the customer, accepting a transactional value in exchange, but it is beyond that. And what I mean by beyond that is the services. You have to ensure that your customer is happy with the product. If he or she in case is having certain problem, you have to give them the option to at least put forward their query, put forward their problem, and in case you can offer them refunds or returns, you should offer them. During the process, the customer will also ask, apart from the tangible benefit that you are offering me, what are the other services? The products like appliances, products of electronics would definitely look forward to an important component of services. So, marketers have to understand the utility and the effectiveness of the entire service team, which plays a very important role in new customer acquisition as well as retaining the existing ones. The last 4 or the second set of activities, which we usually call as the support activities involved in the value chain, are procurement. There are certain activities that we are referring to as support and these are taken care by specialized departments. So, every marketer have to understand that though these are primary, but there are different departments who will take care and who should take care about the right procurement of the material. They have to take care of the technological development related to the product and services. They have to take care of the human resources management and they have to take care of the infrastructure. Now, why are these being called as support activities? Because during this entire process, during all these activities that have been listed here, there would be so many tasks that would be going at the back end. You will be requiring good human resources to do this. You would be requiring different machines, different technologies and digitization to be in the market, that is actually being needed in the market and that is the latest trend in the market. So, you definitely need technological development, otherwise you would be lagging far behind. You have to understand the role of procurement of raw materials, which is very important. The role of suppliers become very critical. So, there would be a specialized department who would be dealing with from where they can procure the best raw material that can lead a complete transformation of their final product. So, the procurement becomes very critical. So, and the firm's infrastructure, of course, the infrastructure of the firm, the way the things have been arranged, the resources that are available with the organization. So, all 4 of these are the support activities, and if they are being taken care of very well, these 5 primary activities usually gets aligned in a better fashion. So, for marketers have to understand that when they talk about customer value in the initial slides that we have discussed and satisfaction, so yes, they can create customer value, they can definitely create customer satisfaction provided they are working on the value chain. So, in order to ensure that your customers are satisfied, they are not identifying any discrepancy between what they expected and what have been delivered, and they are actually being able to call your product something really worth it, you have to take care of this value chain. So, Michael Porter has definitely given this as a great concept that have really improved the entire processing of the marketeers and have helped the organization in identifying a standardized structure through which they can definitely do better in order to maximize value delivery. So, this value chain of Michael Porter has been used by majority of all the organizations, though the intensity or the additions or subtractions can definitely be there. In a nutshell, let us again look out at value chain and what it is also focusing further upon. The firm's task is to examine its cost and performance in each value creating activity. That means that any firm is actually trying to examine how much cost have been involved in every activity that have been discussed in the value chain. They have to benchmark against competitors and they have to continuously look for improvement. So, when the organizations are focusing on value chain, they are definitely looking at what costs are involved in different activities and how much they are paying for managing them. Then they must also benchmark these activities. That means they definitely can refer to some better company, some market leader for how they are managing their inbound logistics, and you can also set a benchmark looking at their inbound logistics, looking at how they are managing their transportation, looking at how they are managing their reverse logistics, identifying how they are actually going for their warehousing, their transportations, anything. So, in value chain, it is essential for any organization to identify the cost involved and to definitely set certain benchmarks so that they can identify their pitfalls, their deficiencies, and they can overcome it over a period of time. Managers can identify the best of class practices of the world's best companies. Now, it is not important that you have to create something best all of a sudden out of a blue moon. No, there are market leaders, there are certain companies who are actually following certain best of class practices over the years and people have recognized them. So, there is no harm for organizations to follow their practices in order to improve their value delivery process, and they can be identified by consulting through customers, suppliers, distributors, financial analysts, trade associations, and any entity who can actually give you a better picture of what is being followed best in the market, and yes, you can improvise on those areas. For example, General Electric have benchmarked against P&G. Now, a company General Electric, a company like Procter & Gamble, though we may not find much match, but still GE have benchmarked against P&G as well as developing their own practices. So, GE have benchmarked against Procter & Gamble, and side by side they are also trying to create certain best practices of their own. Now, it is important to understand that the firm's success depends not only on how well each department performs, those departments, but also on how well the company coordinates departmental activities to conduct core business products. So, it is not only important that the company must take care of the specialized departments and how these departments are working. It is also important that the company or the firm or organization see that these departments are also coordinating to the core business processes. If everything goes aligned with each other, if all these activities goes in sync with each other, the possibility of creating the best value is definitely higher. A firm also needs to look for competitive advantages beyond its own operations in the value chains of supplier, distribution and customer. Apart from engaging all these entities together, the company must also look out for certain competitive advantage. They must also identify certain USPs that their organization have identified. They must also position those USP that will differentiate or distinguish it from rest of its competitors. So, identifying that competitive advantage during the value delivery process is also very important. Many companies today have partners. They have partnered with specific suppliers and distributors to create a superior value delivery network. Now, just because the companies are actually looking forward to identifying certain competitive advantage that can distinguish them from the rest of the competitors, they have also partnered with certain suppliers and distributors. That means they are also identifying competitive advantage not just in the core benefit that they are offering, but also in how they are delivering that product to the customer. So, the competitive advantage can be anything. It need not be focused only on the product or service that you are offering. It can be in terms of the pricing strategy, it can be in terms of the distribution channels, anything. So, yes, companies are there in the market who are trying to be superior, who are trying to prove themselves superior by using a better delivery network, also called as supply chain. So, if we look at the entire picture of what this lecture has contained, we have discussed about marketing, the core concepts that are usually involved in marketing, the core difference between needs, wants and demands, what are the different communication channels, delivery channels, the service channels. So, we have understood a better picture of what the difference is between a product and a service, and how every marketer today is fighting for creating a superior customer value. So, if Michael Porter's value chain framework is taken into account, organizations definitely work on amalgamating and using a best combination of those primary and support activities in order to deliver superior value for the customer. So, marketing starts from customers' needs identification and definitely ends at customer value creation and satisfaction. This is all in the lecture today. Thank you so much.